The summer heat is sizzling in the desert this year, and if you're like me in North America or the Northern Hemisphere, you are suffering through one of the hottest, most oppressive summers of your life. So join me in my very favorite place of all to cool off from the summer heat, La Jolla, California, the gem of the North County San Diego beach towns. Come to my favorite place with me and experience the incredibly beautiful vistas of teal blue ocean, clear waves crashing against the golden sand, blue sky, and the golden cliffs of North County San Diego. So let's pack up the truck and hit the beach. So we're gonna start off the video right away heading to the main event. Specifically speaking, the Pacific Ocean. This is one of the most gorgeous places to go to the beach in all of SoCal. This beach couldn't be more beautiful, but it comes with a catch. We're going to have to haul ourselves down and up 500 steps chiseled into the collapsing cliff face. It's no wonder that La Jolla has been an inspiration to and popular with artists throughout its history. The land, air, and sea are always changing, and photographers, painters, and videographers love the challenge of capturing it in its present iteration between landslides. There are no facilities on the beach, so keep in mind that you're going to need to bring everything you need for your entire day down here, and then haul it back up the hill. You won't even be able to get a bottle of water down here for your walk back up. Also, there are no garbage cans down here, so pack in and pack out. The sun is incredibly strong here in San Diego, and in the late afternoon, it reflects right straight towards you off of the Pacific and basically zaps you from two angles. So if you want to spend all day here, you're going to need sunscreen and an umbrella. Let's carefully make our way down those steps chiseled into the cliff face and get down to that beautiful beach. And here it is, the Pacific Ocean. Who could resist this? We had to come here first to see the beach in all its glory. So this really lives up to the hype. Not only is this referred to as the gem of the San Diego coastline, the ocean literally looks like liquid gemstones here. The light is the most beautiful in the morning, and that's because the sunlight is hitting the Pacific Ocean from the east, creating the most incredible teal blue and turquoise gemstone glow on the water. It doesn't get any better than this, and I'm so glad that we're experiencing this together. Where else but in La Jolla, California. The water feels amazing today. The air temperature is in the mid-70s and the water temperature is in the low 70s. Cool enough to be refreshing from the intense heat of the sun, but warm enough to spend all day swimming and body surfing. The salt water of the Pacific Ocean here is so wonderfully soothing, and if you have sensitive skin, you're going to absolutely love the healing qualities of the salt water here. An underwater canyon just below the surface creates a legendary surf break. Black's Beach is always ranked as one of the top surf beaches in California. And even more impressive, the surfers here carry their longboards down these massive cliffs, surf, and then carry them all the way back up. I always find that so impressive. Let's walk up to the northern end of Black's Beach and check out the tide pools and wildlife on one of the most secluded and natural stretches of coastline in San Diego County. The shoreline, cliffs, and marshes are rich in marine life. These tide pools here are home to limpets, hermit crabs, and shore crabs, mussels, barnacles, sea anemones, and many species of snails and cast-off shells. The tide pools of La Jolla are an incredible nursery for the emerging new generations of marine life. It's a great place for fishermen to come, and there's a reason that so many different aquatic animals come to this area to reproduce and then to raise their young in a more protected environment that's cleaner and safer with a lot of food. This is a very complex and rich ecosystem right here. We have an amazing, diverse array of species. And this year, we have a pair of ospreys living on Black's Beach that we've seen every day, and they are so incredibly beautiful. Clearly the king and queen of the beach. It's amazing in such a densely populated place to still see really a wilderness wildlife area that hasn't been developed. And in most other places in the world, the cliffs of Torrey Pines would have multi-million-dollar mansions or condo towers or both on the top. And instead, we have an incredibly preserved natural wild ecosystem. In addition to these beautiful ospreys, about 200 species of birds are protected here at the reserve, including migratory ones. Year-round shorebirds include brown and white American pelicans, black-bellied and snowy plovers, American advocates, western sandpipers, willets, whimbrels, sanderlings, great egrets, and long-billed curlews. This is the perfect place to watch the annual gray whale migration. And all year round, you can see seals, dolphins, porpoises, and sea lions in the ocean. The water is so unusually clean and clear here, and because of the lack of shoreline development and the underwater marine reserve, this constantly ranks as one of the top 3 cleanest beaches in Southern California. Before this area was colonized by Spain, the Kumeyaay tribes lived here and throughout the seasons migrated between the mountains, deserts, and coast. And they continue to be a strong tribal nation both here in San Diego County and also south of the border in Mexico in Baja Norte State. This is a wonderful, rare instance of extremely valuable real estate, both being a wildlife refuge habitat and a beautiful escape for human beings to enjoy, for the most part, in harmony with nature. Now let's head back down to the southern end of the beach to watch that gorgeous sunset on the Pacific Ocean. It's the late afternoon now, and now the beautiful metallic gleam of the sun is coming off the waves. It's incredible how much the light and the color of the ocean changes throughout the day. Now you can really see the amazing metallic glimmer of the late afternoon sun coming off the Pacific Ocean. One of my favorite things about being down here in La Jolla is how much the colors change throughout the day, from the beautiful aquamarine and teal gemstone tones of the morning to the incredibly metallic silvers of the late afternoon to the fiery ruby red and fire opal sunsets. I always hate to disconnect from the ocean. The sound of the water, the fragrance of the ocean, combining with the herbal scrub of the cliff, and the glorious panorama of the sky. Let's sit here for a few more moments and savor this incredible place. Even if I'm returning the next day, I can't help but feel a pang of sadness leaving this beautiful place. After all, when you find a place that you love as much as this, why would you want to leave? As the sun lowers further, the transient beauty of the beach calls us back to reality. Our glorious day is over, and if we're lucky, another day on the golden sand and in the teal blue surf awaits us tomorrow. I always favor a west-facing beach, and this is absolutely why. I love to get up early, don't get me wrong, but the sunset is where it's at. And let's be honest, the sunrise is a lot better time to water the plants and get ready for the day, whereas sunset is time to just relax and take in the incredible panoramic view. Now, after our great day, this is day one, let's head down to the La Jolla Peninsula and have a beautiful dinner with an amazing panoramic view. And that is something that is a specialty of La Jolla. Absolutely delicious fine cuisine with a view to die for. So here we're at the La Jolla Peninsula, and I don't know how we got so lucky to have this table right by the water's edge, but it is absolutely incredible seeing that beautiful view. Always a crowd when the sun is setting over the Pacific on a beautiful day. While we wait for the coastal inversion to burn up, let's head up the coast to Encinitas to visit a little off the beaten path local surf spot called Swami's Beach. Swami's Beach is named after Swami Paramahansa Yogananda, who was an Indian monk, yogi, and guru, who moved to Encinitas in the 1930s. In 1937, he built the Self-Realization Fellowship on the bluffs overlooking the surf break, which eventually gave it the present name of Swami's Beach. What an ideal place to build a spiritual meditation retreat. Man, this really inspires a Zen mindset. This is different than Black's Beach in that we have beautiful green, lush vegetation growing all along the cliff face down to the beach. But it's the same as Black's Beach in that these cliffs are clearly eroding away. Here at least, we have some well-maintained concrete stairs to get down to the ocean. It's fun to break away from the tourist zone and check out a place that's more frequented by the locals. It's a very beautiful little sliver of beach down here, very much harkening back to the days of North County San Diego when it was a much more eclectic, bohemian, and creative kind of a place. There's still a lot of that up here in North County San Diego, but it couldn't be more clear that this is now a very luxurious and competitively sought after place to live. Nevertheless, it hasn't lost its charm. And if you know where to look, that wonderful, relaxed, creative vibe is still alive and well. Dozens of surfers are waiting for their lucky wave at Swami's Reef. I can feel the glorious California sunshine peeking through the coastal inversion. So let's head back to Torrey Pines to our favorite stretch of sand. Today we're headed back down to Black's Beach, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to avoid the collapsing stairs in the cliff, and we're going to go down the paved lifeguard road at the southernmost end of the beach that starts at La Jolla Farm. And here's one of the big cliff-top estates of La Jolla Farms. Well, we're here at the southernmost point of Black's Beach. This is officially called Torrey Pines City Beach, and we're right at the base of the golden collapsing cliffs of Torrey Pines. So behind me, you can see a beautiful panoramic view of the La Jolla Peninsula, the La Jolla Cove, La Jolla Shores, and Scripps Pier. Now above us on these towering cliffs are the mansions and estates of La Jolla Farm, some of the most beautiful and luxurious homes with the best views you'll find anywhere in San Diego County. But when we go further down the beach and we see the erosion and the collapsing of the cliffs, it's shocking how fast these cliffs are eroding. And let me tell you, you might want to think about setting up your beach blanket at the base of that cliff, because every week that we come here, the erosion continues. It's a huge difference year in, year out, and even week in, week out. So I'm not sure how well some of these people are sleeping at night on top of these cliffs, but you can better believe that they are savoring the view every day until nature and gravity takes its toll. So let's continue checking out this incredible stretch of beach here in Torrey Pines. Here we can see freshly fallen clay and sand mounding at the bottom of the collapsing cliffs. Between the layers of different materials, water is flowing from within, further eroding the cliffs from inside. Two very cool residents of note at the top of La Jolla Farms are musician Alicia Keys and her husband Swizz Beatz, who own the iconic Razor House high up on the cliffs of La Jolla Farms with an incredible view of the Pacific Ocean. This is the perfect place to show how extreme the erosion and the collapse of the cliffs are here on the southernmost end of Black's Beach. The landslides are exacerbated by the weather cycle that we've had the last few years, where we've had short but very wet and cold winters, which weigh down the cliffs with water. And then in between the short winters, we've been having very long summers and drought conditions where the cliffs literally cleave apart in the heat. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, we've been having unusually high king tides, which have been crashing right up against the bases of the cliffs. So all of those three things combined have created a very dangerous situation where the cliffs are collapsing not only week to week, but day to day. Early Spanish settlers named this area Punto de Arboles, after the grove of Torrey Pines on the top of the cliffs. The trees served as a landmark when the sailors were navigating the legendarily treacherous California coastline. Botanist Charles C. Parry identified this pine as a unique species and named it after his great friend John Torrey, a leading botanist of the time. Now, Torrey Pines is home to the rarest pine species in America, Pinus torreyana, growing only here and on Santa Rosa Island off the coast of Santa Barbara. The Torrey Pines ended up saving this area from development. And in 1899, the city of San Diego set aside the original 369 acres to create the first iteration of the park. American journalist, philanthropist, and founding donor for many major institutions in Southern California, Ellen Browning Scripps, purchased land slated for development and completed the present-day boundaries of the reserve. She was a forward-thinking visionary and a staunch crusader, not just for the improvement of people, but also nature and animals and the land itself. When she saw the effects of overuse of the park on the Torrey Pines, she created a public campaign to cultivate the public's interest in the trees and in caring for and preserving the trees. Over the course of her life, she contributed greatly to the establishment of the reserve and countless other major institutions in Southern California, including Scripps Institution of Oceanography, Bishop School, Scripps College, present-day Claremont University, the San Diego Natural History Museum, Scripps Health, Scripps Research, and the Children's Pool of La Jolla. A wonderfully philanthropic, benevolent, generous, and most of all, forward-thinking woman who still shapes this place today as much as ever. Today's golden hour is an especially beautiful and tranquil end to an amazing day on the San Diego coast. As usual, I hate to leave the beach, and I love taking in the sunset. The sunset today is beautiful and so full of color. It's incredible how much this coast changes just throughout one day. From this morning's coastal inversion to the warm, sunny, blue sky afternoon to the fiery red gemstone sunset. The cliffs and the sand take on the most golden glow at this time of day. Tomorrow, we could have another cliff collapse, and this beach could be completely different. The sunset and the coastal inversion interplay to create a dazzling panorama. Here on this high perch, we have a beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean as a canvas of fiery sunbeams, blue ocean, and steel gray shadows. Most of us stop as we ascend and take on this awe-inspiring sunset. It's amazing that we all instinctively, silently appreciate the sunset almost as a communal appreciation and reverence for this incredible display of nature. I always feel at peace here and feel inspired by the beauty of this place. We're immersed in the shimmering, fiery beauty that nature has bestowed on us today. I'm so tempted to stay here for the entire sunset and watch the sky until the stars come out. But I don't feel like walking up the cliff with a headlamp, so let's start to make our way back up. Another ending to another perfect day under the towering cliffs of Torrey Pines, where else but in La Jolla, California. And for this trip, we're staying at the top of the cliff at the Torrey Pines Hilton, which overlooks the world-famous Torrey Pines Golf Course. The view from the top of the cliff is incredible, and the two properties up there are the Torrey Pines Lodge and the Torrey Pines Hilton, and they're both beautifully landscaped with birds of paradise and succulents and all sorts of beautiful blooming flowers and soft foliage that loves the mist coming off of the ocean every morning. And since we can't grow those things or enjoy them in the desert, it's so nice to be here, and it's such an incredible plant palette that people are able to landscape with. So from the rooms of the Torrey Pines Hilton, you get an incredible view of the ocean over the fairways. And my favorite is the view very first thing in the morning when the sun is rising on the east, illuminating the palm trees, and then finally the ocean wakes up and bursts to life as the sun makes its way over the cliffs onto the ocean. So that's a beautiful way to start the day. It's so serene. And I've been wanting for many years to check out the Torrey Pines Golf Course, and it is even more beautiful in person than I expected. So it's really, really worth it if you are a golf lover. The Torrey Pines Golf Course is public. It's owned by the city of San Diego, and it's consistently ranked one of the top 2 or 3 public golf courses in California, following behind, you guessed it, Pebble Beach. So it's like San Diego's version of Pebble, and it is so incredibly beautiful. Even if you don't play golf, it's a great place to come for a sundowner, and you believe me, you will have the king of all sunset views up there on the top of the cliff. Opened in 1957, it was built on the site of Camp McCallan, a U.S. Army installation used in World War II. Torrey Pines has 2 golf courses, north and south, designed by William Francis Bell. This is a must visit for golf lovers, and tee times are available up to 90 days in advance. The Lodge at Torrey Pines is a whimsical and charming AAA 5-diamond rated ultra luxurious resort up on the top of Torrey Pines, right on the Torrey Pines Golf Course. It was built in a craftsman style reminiscent of Frank Lloyd Wright. It was originally built in 1961, and after being almost completely demolished and renovated, it was reopened in its current sumptuous iteration in 2002. The sun is behind the coastal inversion, so let's check out the Torrey Pines Preserve. This is a beautiful network of trails at the top of the cliff, but there's an incredible view of the ocean and the entire La Jolla Peninsula. It's another beautiful day here on our 3rd day, and I think this may be the most beautiful day yet. The marine layer has burned off, and the amazing panorama of golden cliffs, blue sky, and ocean is unveiled. As we ever so carefully make our way down the cliffs, every new level is an even more beautiful panorama of blue sky, teal ocean, and golden sand and cliffs. The tide is out and a wide, flat beach awaits us. The water has been so refreshing, just a degree or 2 below the temperature of the air, and the salinity has been just perfect and so soothing. As beautiful as the water looks and feels, besides the riptides, your biggest danger are the stingrays. There are sharks on the beach, and although they're often seen swimming off the coast here, but it's very unlikely that you'll interface with them while swimming. The stingrays are a much more likely danger, and this year they've been more prevalent than ever, not only along the entire San Diego coast, but this beach in particular. It's critical to know how to avoid them and how to spot them in order to enjoy the water safely. Getting stung or even grazed by a stingray's stinger is incredibly painful, requires medical intervention, can cause you to be sick for over 2 weeks afterwards, and worst of all, will cause you to have an incredibly painful, miserable walk up the cliff with your stingray bite. You want to do everything in your power to avoid being stung by a stingray. First and foremost, learn the stingray shuffle. Shuffle your feet along the bottom of the sand until you're about mid-thigh or waist deep into the water. The vibrations you're creating by shuffling let the stingray know that you're there and allow them to be able to avoid you. The stingray does not want to come near you, and by shuffling, you're less likely compared to walking or stomping into the water. You're less likely to step on the stingray, and of course, if the stingray is stepped on, it's going to defend itself by stinging you. Secondly, don't linger at the water's edge. Shuffle your way right in. So the water's edge is where they like to come in and hunt for food. They love the flat beach, and they especially like it when the water is coming in from low to high, because the minnows and the plankton and the small fish are swept into the shore by the tide. So that's the time to avoid the water, and the best time to go in the water, conversely, is when it's going from high to low. Most of the time, the water is very clear here, so you can actually see the stingrays in the water. So look down at your feet while you're getting in and out of the water. So far, I've been lucky on this visit. I've swam and body surfed every single day without being swept out by a riptide or stung by a stingray. Knock wood. This has been just an incredible visit, and I am so glad to have so much time in the Pacific Ocean in the salt water. Now this is what I call a golden hour. Wispy clouds, reflections on the wet sand, fiery red sunset, and the glistening metallic waves combine to create an ocean sunset panorama for the ages. And here we are, once again, with the perfect front row seat for the most distinctive of all coastal San Diego experiences, and that is the fiery red sunset on the Pacific Ocean. I guess nature chose to save the best for last on this trip. This sunset is truly incredible. One of the most beautiful sunsets I've seen amongst hundreds here on the Pacific. When you start to see that thin veil of coastal inversion and the wispy, feathery clouds, that's typically a sign that you're in for an incredibly beautiful, colorful, amazing sunset. I have a feeling this one is going to be worth hiking up the cliff with a headlamp in the dark. So let's just stay here and take this incredibly dazzling display in. I love the feeling of just being humbled by and in awe of nature's beauty like this. It just makes you feel so small and insignificant, and yet part of something so much bigger and greater than yourself at the same time. This has been a wonderful trip, experiencing both my old favorite and new places. I love living in SoCal and San Diego County because after a decade of living here, I am still having new experiences and that wonderful feeling of discovery over and over again. Especially as San Diego County continues to grow, develop, and change. Going to a place you haven't been to for 10 years or so, you are likely to have an entirely brand new experience today. I always hate to leave here. My love for this place is so strong. But before long, the coastal inversion will return and won't leave. The days will become short and cool here, and the warm desert sunshine will beckon. The sun lowers and the afterglow reaches across the entire horizon. Nature's hand is painting everything with the most beautiful gem tones. And we're back in nature's jewelry vault. Tonight, the reflections on the flat, wet sand are even more beautiful than the sky itself. When I see a sunset like this, I wish it would never end. Rather, it would go on forever, and we would stay in this moment. But this sunset is a perfect reminder of the fleeting, ephemeral nature of life itself, which will one day as well, for each of us, descend below the horizon. And like sand through parted fingers, our time here has come to an end in this beautiful place. This is it, the last moment before the sun drops below the horizon. What an incredible sunset display this has been tonight. It's been an incredible day here on the coast in Torrey Pines in La Jolla, California, and I am so glad that we were able to explore and experience my favorite beach together. What an incredible visit to La Jolla this has been, and I'm so grateful that we were able to do this together to get to my favorite place on the West Coast the gem of the North County San Diego coastline, and it's been such an incredible relief from the sweltering summer heat. So if you enjoyed this video and you watched all the way to the very end, thank you so much. There's another video that I think you'll really enjoy, a great refreshing break from the sweltering heat of wherever you are. Desert Wildflowers 2024. We had an amazing display of wildflowers in the desert this last year, and we captured them from start to finish. So join me on an incredible journey from the wet winter of the desert to the hot summer and all of the incredible waves and displays of different varieties of wildflowers. So please enjoy Desert Wildflowers 2024. Thank you again for joining me in the gem of the North County San Diego coastline. Where else but La Jolla, California.